Thanks for tuning in to Murder News, the true crime cult for the latest breaking news, murdery memes, TV reviews, podcast recommendations, and all things spooky. It's almost the holidays, and what better way to celebrate and bring in the new year than to sit around with your family at our true crime cult and share the murder stories that traumatized you as a kid while sipping on some eggnog and tying some bows on your very own baby goats. I'm television's Aurora Katie.
And I'm your online murder friend, Angelina. Cults are no fun alone, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell all of your true crime friends to join the commune at murder.news. This is the Week in True Crime. Japan's Twitter killer was sentenced to death on Tuesday. 30-year-old Takehiro Shirashi was sentenced for the murder and dismemberment of 8 women and 1 man in 2017. Investigators were led to Shirashi's apartment near Tokyo when they discovered his Twitter account. His Twitter handle loosely translates to hangman, and his bio read, "I want to help people who are really in pain. Please DM me anytime." And investigators noticed that he had been in contact via Twitter with a 23-year-old Tokyo woman who had been missing. Takehiro Shirashi's defense lawyers argued that he should be charged with a lesser offense of consensual homicide because his victims expressed their suicidal wishes over Twitter. But Shirashi quashed his own defense by admitting both in court and to the media that his victims did not consent, explaining that their bodies had bruises from the way that he restrained them when they resisted. Shirashi detailed his method of seeking out depressed women on Twitter, who he saw as easy targets and easy to manipulate. He told his victims that he could help them end their own lives, and in some cases even promised to die with them. But once he lured them to his apartment, he strangled his victims to death. He also robbed his victims and sexually assaulted the female victims, some of whom were minors. The one male victim was the brother of one of his earlier victims who came looking for his sister. The defense also claimed that Shirashi was mentally incompetent, but he underwent 5 months of psychiatric testing before his indictment in 2018, and prosecutors concluded that he could be held criminally liable. In an ironic twist of fate for this self-proclaimed hangman, the death penalty is carried out in Japan by hanging. In Japan, they also keep the execution date secret from both the prisoner and their family, only notifying the prisoner on the morning of their hanging. This has been such a high-profile case in Japan that it stimulated some talk from the Japanese government about imposing new regulations for websites on which suicide is discussed. It also prompted a change from Twitter, which amended its rules to state that users should not promote or encourage suicide or self-harm. The Japanese government also created some new suicide prevention initiatives in an effort to continue to reduce the country's suicide rates, which have long been among the highest in the world. If you are experiencing emotional distress or fear that you may self-harm, please instead reach out to one of the many resources listed in the details below. In the USA, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at the number on the screen. In Canada, you can call the Canada Suicide Prevention Service or l'Association québécoise de prévention du suicide in Quebec. Crisis lines by state and by country can be found in the links below.
On Sunday morning, 4 members of a family in Elkview, West Virginia were found brutally murdered. A family member stopped by their home on Cemetery Hill Drive around 10:40 a.m. after being concerned about not hearing from them for several days. Their door was unlocked, and unfortunately, they found a gruesome sight inside. According to the family friend and neighbor who called the police, Nathan Grandy, 4 family members had been shot, including the mother, 39-year-old Risa Mae Saunders Long, 37-year-old Daniel Dale Long, and their sons, 12-year-old Gage Ripley and 3-year-old Jamison Long. Nathan, the neighbor, said the father and mother were found shot in their beds, seemingly while sleeping, with Daniel's CPAP machine still on. One of the children was found shot in the hallway in a bloody scene, but further details about how the family were killed have not yet been released. Autopsies were conducted on Monday by the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department, and the results that will include the time of death should be released soon. It's still uncertain if the family was murdered on Sunday or sometime before, since they had not responded to family calls for several days. When police arrived at the family's home, the oldest child, who was 16, was nowhere to be found. He was located on Sunday evening and has since been arrested and charged with his family's murder. His identity has not been released since he's a juvenile, and no information has been released about what his motive might have been for shooting his family members. Friends and family of the Long family are devastated. Family friend John Truman posted this tribute to the family saying, "Dan Long and Risa Long, I will miss you guys so, so much. I will cherish the memories we had together. When you left this world, you took a piece of my heart. I love you guys. Wait for me in heaven, as I'll miss you guys like crazy, and I'll sure as heck miss those boys." This is so heartbreaking, and if you're able to help, Risa's cousin, Stephanie Osborne, has set up a GoFundMe to help pay for the funeral expenses. We've included a link to the GoFundMe in the details below. We've also included links to our sources, including Fox 8, WSAZ3, the New York Post, and the Daily Mail.
Over the holidays, we're of course catching up on some new crime documentaries. Some of my recent faves have been Crazy Not Insane, which is based on a psychologist who specialized in serial killers, Seduced, the new one about the NXIVM cult, and Cult of Cults, about the Heaven's Gate cult. All three of those are on HBO, and also Love Fraud on Netflix. We are also re-watching Everything Zodiac after amateur codebreakers recently cracked the code of his final cipher. And we've gotten into some fictional crime dramas, which, if you ask me, give the perfect cozy vibe for cuddling up inside on cold winter days. I loved The Flight Attendant, which is just so slick and beautiful, down to the title credits. Kaylee Cuoco stars as a hard-partying flight attendant who wakes up next to the dead body of a murdered man in Bangkok. Fearing she'd be the next Amanda Knox, she decides not to call the police and to take the investigation into her own hands. Did you finish it, Aurora?
I have not finished it. I'm a few episodes in, but oh my God, I'm so hooked.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like in some sort of alternate reality, this was my life if I had been a flight attendant, because it sounds like some hijinks I pulled in my 20s.
Totally, and I almost wish it was my life. It sounds like I love the lifestyle of the flight attendant presented on this show. It's awesome. But of course you don't want to wake up next to a dead guy. Yeah. There's always that. The Lie on Amazon Prime is another great one. A couple fall into a web of lies and deceit as they try to cover up a horrific crime committed by their teenage daughter. Also check out Your Honor on Showcase, starring Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad. It's a series that details what ensues when a respected judge's son is involved in a hit and run. And it's chock full of, you guessed it, lies and deceit. I live in Canada and subscribe to Crave, and I've been digging the category they recently added called Yes, It's a Christmas Movie. It's for more offbeat holiday classics that you want to rewatch, like Die Hard, Gremlins, Edward Scissorhands, and Black Christmas. If you're more dark and spooky than offbeat, you might enjoy some holiday horror films like Silent Night, Deadly Night, Santa's Sleigh, and Christmas Presents, a creepy slow burn. You can stream all of the above on Shudder. If you've got a week or two ahead of you of sitting around at home and want to peruse our seasonal selections, check out our big, definitive true crime guide for the holidays on murdermurder.news for tons of suggestions of what to buy, watch, read, and listen to all holiday season long.
This week on Murder Murder News, check out our guide for hosting a Christmas-themed online murder mystery party. Pretend you're Agatha Christie, and the year is 2020. You are trapped at home in quarantine, but you still really, really want to solve an old-timey murder. Our guide includes tips on having a themed cocktail or mocktail, how to keep guests engaged, and where to purchase a murder mystery game so you don't have to invent a game on your own. Nothing says the holidays like a family wanting to murder each other, so this is really the best way to connect with your family or maybe some murderino friends. There's still time to plan your Zoom Christmas or New Year's Eve party, and feel free to invite us along.
We love reading your comments, so long as you're not a troll, and we wanted to thank Tanisha for commenting that her daughter, one of our past interns, got her into our show, and now she's addicted. Thanks so much for watching, and please give your daughter a big hug for us.
We love you, Latte. Thanks to Stephanie Knows for commenting, rest in peace to Selena, and she's gonna check out the Netflix show. I watched all 9 episodes in one day yesterday, and it's so good. Definitely check it out if you have some free time over the holidays.
Thanks so much for tuning into This Week in True Crime with Murder Murder News. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below, give us a thumbs up, and tell all of your true crime friends.
Help support Murder Murder News by signing up for our commune at murdermurder.news, and your $5 a month sponsorship helps us keep the true crime lights on. It helps us produce our weekly show and helps support our amazing writers that keep you up to date with the latest breaking news every day on murdermurder.news. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. See you next week.
Murder, murder.